Customer experience, a topic that many companies talk about. Our very own Chief Consumer Officer, Bilal Kazmi, is going to tell us how Ooredoo improved the customer experience and how we will improve it even further. Bilal has 25 years of telco industry experience, including 15 years at Telenor in Pakistan, Thailand, and Norway.
Hello everyone. My colleagues Rene and Saim have touched upon customer experience as a must-win battle for Ooredoo, and very happy to walk you through more details in this journey. And let me say it is actually a journey, and in the later half of 2021, we as a management team all got together and said we must put a stake on the ground and make customer experience the cornerstone of Ooredoo's strategy. Prior to that, we were working on a lot of other initiatives, for example, on the distribution side, mass market distribution, as well as branded shops. But at that point in time, we all kind of got together and said, how do we differentiate ourselves? And it was very clear to us that the one thing that will identify us differently from our competitors would be customer experience. And then what does that mean? And what are the headlines of customer experience for Ooredoo? So there are three key headlines. It's seamless, it's consistent, and it's differentiated. And to give you a few examples, seamless means works first time, all the time. It also means we are clear and transparent, not any, what should I say, subtext. Whatever we offer to our customers is exactly what they are seeing. Similarly, if you talk of being consistent, so the key thing is to offer the same experience, no matter what is the touch point for our customers. And differentiated means that we are personalizing everything across Ooredoo for our customers. So almost moving towards one customer engagement from an Ooredoo standpoint. So here is the ambition that what we said was that we will become the preferred telco service provider across our geographies as measured by CSAT leadership. So CSAT is an industry-wide standard. It's well accepted. It is based on detailed research, and it gives you a clear view on how you are doing versus your competitors. And we are doing this, we are partnering with Nielsen in making sure that there is a proper, structured, in-depth scientific analysis that is done, lifted to us, and we can then make a sound call on how are we actually doing in our markets versus our competitors. So how did we go about implementing this ambition? And right at the onset, we identified 6 key pillars on which our customer experience improvement strategy would be anchored. And they were customer-centric culture. We all know that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So the most important thing was that, not only are we executing, but it is actually led by a mindset change across the organization. And I'll touch more upon that later in this presentation. Then what you measure is what you get. So voice of the customer, and measuring the voice of the customer across all of our touch points and using that as the biggest source of information for improving our customer experience every day. We also thought that this journey isn't complete if we are not, first of all, lifting the customer experience at our biggest digital touch point, which is My Ooredoo app. So we identified journey improvements, key journey improvements for My Ooredoo app. We were also very clear that we need to bring in world-class partners to make sure that we also imbibe within Ooredoo what are the best practices across the world, so that we also integrate them in our strategy. Then Voice of the customer is more bottom up. We also spelled out a program on customer journey improvement, which is more of a top down. So you start from looking at the customer journey instead of getting the feedback from customer at the touch points, and then you identify the pain points and systematically work on improving them. And last but not the least was a focus on templates, playbooks, best practices, because there's a lot of good work already being done across the Ooredoo footprint. But the thing is that, are we harnessing that? Are we cascading those best practices and making sure that what is happening in Oman is very well replicated in an Algeria or a Tunisia? And then we were also very clear, going back to the what you measure is what you get mantra, that we have to deploy clear KPIs and transparent KPIs, so that this is not just a lot of talk, but crisp measurement follows the implementation of the strategy. So we started looking at implementation of a elaborate Ooredoo-wide voice of the customer tool, which would give you daily and in some cases real-time feedback, but then also more in-depth research feeding back into our analytical pool, informing us how are we actually doing. And that was based on CSAT, NPS, as well as brand equity. So a very real-time feedback mechanism, as well as look-back mechanism, which was based on elaborate research. I will now touch upon these initiatives briefly. So first and foremost, when I talked about doing a customer mindset and culture change, so again, we put a stake in the ground and we said in 2022, customer experience will be a 15% KPI of the entire organization, and I mean entire organization, starting from the group MD to, let's say, somebody sitting in accounting. 100% of Ooredoo will have customer experience as a bonus KPI carrying 15% weight. So it was not 5 or 10%, but we lifted the weightage of this KPI so that everybody really appreciates that Ooredoo really means what it's saying. And then signaling to the entire organization. So we arranged a customer experience day across our geographies, and the entire top management of the organization here in group or in the opcos went out and touched base with experience. They went to shops, they went to call center, they went to B2B customers, they listened to the customers, they listened to the people facing our customers, understood their problems. And we also captured all of that feedback in a structured way, actually using a voice of the customer feedback capturing tool. This was a huge signal to the organization, and we got amazing feedback, because when somebody from a non-customer facing part of the organization actually met customers, it was almost like they said, oh, so this is what it means. And this is what we need to dramatically improve if we really need to differentiate before our customers. So it was a mix of 15% KPI, but also a hugely symbolic moment on customer day when the entire organization went out. And some of the opcos actually loved it so much that they more or less made it a part of their weekly cadence. The other thing was, I can now talk a bit about the voice of the customer tool. So again, we as I said, we talked about this within management later in H2 2021, but we quickly did a group-wide tendering process, brought on board a world-renowned voice of the customer solution provider called Qualtrics, actually the leader according to Gartner, and triggered a process of implementing their solution across our geographies. And this tool gives you almost real-time feedback. So each time a customer touches one of our touch points, for example, a call center or a branded shop or app and web, we are immediately able to capture the customer. And then behind that is a very elaborate process of addressing that at what we call the inner loop, at the touch point level, or are these product issues, are these communication issues that need to be taken by people not rooted in the customer care organization, but people whose design of our products and services can drive customer queries or complaints. Again, this was a process which, for example, the top management was steering the implementation of tool. Happy to report that as we speak, we are at the stage of completing this project. We are doing the trials in most of our opcos, and we'll be going live and actually setting up the baselines in November. And all of us, again, in the top management who come from different parts of the world, from other telcos, knew that the bottom-up process of improving customer experience based on actual feedback can actually bring a mini revolution in the organization. And that is what we are aiming for in 2023, starting November 2022. Then, as I said, it was very important that our biggest touch point is noticed for its ease of use by our customers. So again, we took a digital first approach and said there are 6 key journeys across My Ooredoo app where the customer experience will be best in class. For example, I join, I pay, I use, and let's say if we said that, okay, one of the key journeys is that the customer purchases a plan or a bundle or activates a new product, and we said that customer journey has to be extremely easy, extremely intuitive, best in class with the least number of steps. And this template we cascaded across 6 key customer journeys. Again, happy to report that across our opcos we are on track. We call this process Sahal, which means easy in Arabic, and we will be implementing or closing the improvement of all the 6 identified customer journeys by the end of this year. So there will be a much improved customer experience on My Ooredoo app by the end of this year. Then we also took customer journey to the physical interface, and as we speak, we are doing a pilot project in our I would say most critical opco, which is Ooredoo Qatar. And we have, again, here in the physical world, in the prepaid world, identified 2 journeys, I join and I use. And we have done an elaborate discovery process of identifying customer pain points, talking to customers, talking to customer-facing staff, identifying the pain points top down. We interviewed about 50 customers and employees, identified a host of pain points, 95 to be exact, and right now we are implementing the customer journey improvements based on this feedback. This again, once executed, should build a template on, other than voice of the customer, how do you improve the customer journeys through a top-down process, and then we plan to cascade across the opcos through the course of 2023. Last but not the least, as I said, is the process of harnessing the good work that is done. So let's say if Ooredoo Oman is best in class in first contact resolution at the call center, and Ooredoo Tunisia is not, then let that not be a well-kept secret in Ooredoo Oman. Let's deploy mechanism and structures that best practices from one opco are replicated in others. So you harness international experience through working with somebody like Qualtrics, but you also harness on best practices which are happening right now but are not well replicated. And we have tried to deploy templates, playbooks on what to do for the 9 critical topics on improving customer experience, where we picked best practices from each of the opco. So the template was not made in isolation. It was made with an opco, best in class in that area, which in a way scripted the template. And then when we cascaded it across Ooredoo, we were not just sharing a PowerPoint. We invited that opco so that, and there were workshops with that other opco, so that they could show from real life experience how it is done in a particular area. So our objective is to address these 9 topics within 2022, We have crossed 4 now and should be able to close all the playbooks rollout by the end of this year. And in the same vein, we have also now built up customer experience communities, people who own the customer and who are so keen to exchange their experiences, but there was no platform before. So we have put in formal arenas and fora where the customer experience team gets together, shares experiences. We did this, why don't you guys try this? This does not work. Can you tell us how did you crack this problem? So a very vibrant community engaging through formal fora, but also informally, through WhatsApp group where you can almost daily see somebody sharing a problem or a solution or a great experience. So I think in a way sum it up, are all of these initiatives also yielding the dividends? Do we see progress? Because it's now been almost 3 to 4 quarters since we have started this journey. So what we see right now, if you look at our consolidated CSAT across our opcos, we actually, as we speak, have market leadership in 4 markets, and we are number 2 in another 4 markets. And you see the good progress on CSAT as well as on NPS over the last 5 quarters. So it's a journey, but what we also show that is that we are beginning to see the early fruits of the seeds that we are sowing today. And it's very important for me to also assert the fact that this directly drives value. So what you also see in some of our key markets is that the improvement in CSAT and NPS is also driving reduction in churn in some of our key markets, which inherently means your customer's happy, they stay with you for longer, you don't lose them to competition, they love to stay with you and engage with your products and give you higher revenues. So we are already also beginning to see that the efforts on customer experience are being reflected in reduction in churn, for example. I would stop here and also reiterate that this is a journey. We have taken a stake, we have deployed structured processes, fora, tools across the Ooredoo landscape. We are very committed to it. We are beginning to see the upside. And I'm sure you will hear more good news from Ooredoo in the coming times. Thank you very much.